We have made it. It is finally opening day, opening night, whatever you want to call it, for the 2024-25 NHL season. In yesterday's video, I gave you guys my standings predictions for each division. Now today, I want to go over my predictions for all of the major NHL awards. This is a video that I make every year heading into each new season, and one rule that I always have is I cannot predict a player to win an award who just won that award. So for an example, I won't be able to go with Nathan MacKinnon to win the Hart or the Art Ross because he just won those awards. I like to keep this rule every year to spice things up a little bit, and as always, I want to know what you guys are thinking, so be sure to let me know your predictions for all of the major NHL awards down below in the comments. And lastly, if this is your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this all year round, be sure to hit that subscribe button. My goal is 100,000 subscribers by the end of this NHL season. Let's see if we can pull it off. So with that all being said, let's go ahead and start off with the team awards. First up, we have the President's Trophy, which is awarded to the team that finishes the regular season with the most points in the entire NHL. Last season, the President's Trophy was won by the New York Rangers, and my prediction to win it this season is going to be the Edmonton Oilers. I am very high on this team heading into the season. If you watched my season standings prediction video yesterday, I predicted Edmonton to finish first place in the Pacific Division. This is a team that finished with 104 points in the regular season last year, despite the fact that after just 1 month, it looked like their season was over. They could not win a game. They ended up firing Jay Woodcroft. And then from that point on, the Oilers were completely dominant. They almost set a new NHL record for the longest win streak in a single season. They carried their momentum from the regular season over into the playoffs as they made that run all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, where they ultimately fell short in Game 7 to the Florida Panthers. The Oilers core is obviously still intact. I think they made a lot of solid moves over the course of the offseason as well. I've been very vocal about how much I like the Jeff Skinner and Victor Arvidsson additions. On paper, I feel like the Edmonton Oilers forward group is the deepest it has ever been in the Draisaitl and McDavid era. If the defense and goaltending is even just solid, I think this team is going to do a lot of damage this season, and I don't see any reason why the defense and goaltending won't be solid. Stuart Skinner had a fantastic second half last season. According to Money Puck's model, Edmonton finished last season with the 8th best expected goals against per 60 with just 2.31. The best way to defend is having puck possession in the offensive zone and being on the attack, and I think the Oilers are going to be doing a lot of that this season. Moving on now to the next team award. This is the big one, the Stanley Cup, which was won last year by the Florida Panthers, and my pick to win the 2025 Stanley Cup is going to be last year's President's Trophy winners, the New York Rangers. The Rangers have been one of the best teams in the NHL for a few years now. The lowest point total they've finished the season with over the course of the last 3 seasons is 107. They've made it to the Eastern Conference Finals in 2 out of the last 3 postseasons. This is a team that is battle-tested. They have gained a lot of playoff experience over the last 3 years. You have one of the best goaltenders in the league in Igor Shesterkin, who is capable of stealing a playoff series on his own. You also have one of the best forwards in the NHL in Artemi Panarin, and one of the best defensemen in the NHL in Adam Fox. I think we're going to see Alexis Lafreniere have a big breakthrough season and build off of the career year that he just had. Riley Smith should make a solid addition to the Rangers' middle six. That's a guy that's capable of getting you 20 goals in a season. Having a healthy Philip Hedl in the lineup is huge as well. He really rounds out the Rangers' top 9 nicely. A 1-2-3 down the middle of Zibanejad, Trocheck, and Philip Hedl is disgusting. I really feel like it's only a matter of time before the New York Rangers get over that hump and make it out of the Eastern Conference Finals, and I'm predicting that this year is going to be the year they do that. And not only do they just get out of the Eastern Conference Finals, I'm predicting them to win the Stanley Cup. Moving on now to some individual awards, starting off with the Jack Adams, which was won last season by Rick Tocchet, head coach of the Vancouver Canucks, and my prediction to win the Jack Adams this season is going to be Sheldon Keefe, head coach of the New Jersey Devils. Sheldon Keefe is set up beautifully to win the Jack Adams this season. It's an award that is usually given to the head coach of a team that overachieves the most or has the biggest improvement from season to season, and last season the New Jersey Devils underachieved massively, and I think everybody expects them to bounce back in a big way this season. They loaded up in the offseason, bringing in the likes of Jacob Markstrom, Brett Pesce, Brendan Dillon. Guys like Luke Hughes and Simon Nemec are a year older, a year better. Their number 1 defenseman, Dougie Hamilton, is healthy and back in the lineup. I think this season we're going to see the Devils look a lot more like the team that finished with 112 points in 2022 2022-23, as opposed to the team that finished with just 81 points last season. And if they do show that kind of improvement, naturally their new head coach Sheldon Keefe is going to get a lot of credit and a lot of praise for that by fans and the media. I really feel like Sheldon Keefe is an absolute shoo-in to win the Jack Adams this year. Moving on now to the Selke Trophy, which is awarded to a forward who demonstrates the most skill in the defensive component of the game, which was won last season by Alexander Barkov of the Florida Panthers, the second time he's won it in his career, and honestly I wouldn't be surprised if he wins it again this season, but like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I have that rule where I can't pick a player to win an award who just won it, so we gotta go with somebody else. So my pick for the winner of the Selke Trophy in 2025 is going to be Austin Matthews. He was a finalist for the Selke this past season, finished third in voting behind Jordan Staal and Barkov, who again won the award. This was the first time Matthews had been named a finalist for the Selke Trophy. However, he did receive votes in 5 of the last 6 seasons. For whatever reason, a lot of people don't like to hear it, but Austin Matthews is an elite 200-foot centerman. Oftentimes, his defensive game gets overshadowed by the fact that he can get you 60 goals in a season, but over these last few years, a lot of people are starting to really recognize just how good he is defensively, which is reflected by the fact that, again, he finished third in Selke voting this past season. I think it's only a matter of time before Austin Matthews wins his first. Voters fatigue is also a thing, and with Barkov just winning the award for the second time in his career, I could see them wanting to give it to someone else this season, so I'm going with Austin Matthews. Moving on now to the Norris Trophy, which is awarded to the league's best defenseman. This past season, it was won by Quinn Hughes of the Vancouver Canucks. My pick to win it this season, it's a basic, boring answer. I'm going with Cale Makar. Cale Makar already won the Norris Trophy back in 2022, the same year in which he became a Stanley Cup champion. He was a finalist for the Norris Trophy this season, finished third in voting behind Yossi and Quinn Hughes, a year in which Cale Makar put up a career-high 90 points in 77 games. The dude continues to get better year after year. In my opinion, he's the best defenseman in the NHL, and I think it's only a matter of time before he wins his second Norris Trophy. I honestly wouldn't be surprised at all to see him break the 100-point mark this season if he stays healthy. I'm going to group these next 2 awards together and get them out of the way because my pick for both of them is another basic, boring answer, but my pick for both the Art Ross Trophy, which is awarded to the league's leading goal scorer, and the Hart Trophy, which is the NHL MVP award, is going to be Connor McDavid. I know, real original, right? But he didn't win them last season, and I would be very surprised if at this point in McDavid's career, his absolute peak, he goes back-to-back seasons without winning either a Hart or an Art Ross. He really is just in a league of his own, and I think he's going to be coming into this season wanting to make a statement and wanting to prove that the Edmonton Oilers making it to the Stanley Cup Finals this past season was not a fluke. I'm sure a lot of you watched the NHL Face-Off series on Amazon Prime Video. In that series, it showed McDavid, it showed the Oilers locker room after that Game 7 loss in the Stanley Cup Finals to the Florida Panthers, and obviously McDavid was just completely devastated. I think he's going to be very hungry and eager to get back to that level, get back to the Stanley Cup Finals, and a McDavid with a chip on his shoulder, I mean, that is absolute nightmare fuel for the rest of the league. I would not be surprised at all to see McDavid have another 150-plus point season like he did back in 2022-23. Moving on now to the Rocket, which is awarded to the league's leading goal scorer. This past season, it was won once again by Austin Matthews, and my prediction to win the award in 2025, this might be a little bit outside the box to some people. I'm going with Kirill Kaprizov, one of the most fun players to watch in the entire league. The dude is electric and has quietly been a goal-scoring machine over the last 3 seasons. He's now had 3 consecutive 40-plus goal years, and I say quietly because I feel like he doesn't get talked about a lot when people talk about the best players in the NHL, but if he played in a bigger market like New York, Toronto, or Montreal, I feel like he would. Over the course of the last 3 seasons, there are only 4 players in the entire league with a higher goals per game average than Kirill Kaprizov. Those players are Nathan MacKinnon, Connor McDavid, David Pastrnak, and Austin Matthews. That's some pretty elite company. I believe Kirill Kaprizov is capable of scoring 55-plus goals in a season. Now, is that enough to win the Rocket these days? I mean, Matthews just scored 69, but who knows? Moving on now to the Vezina Trophy, which is awarded to the league's best goaltender. This past season, it was won by Connor Hellebuyck. It's the second time in his career he's won the Vezina, and my prediction to win the award this season is going to be Juuse Saros. This would be Saros' first time winning the Vezina, although he has came close, as Saros has been top 5 in Vezina voting now in each of the last 3 seasons, including being a finalist for the award in 2022. The dude is an absolute workhorse. He has played 64 or more games now in each of the last 3 seasons. I don't see that changing this year. I like the team that Nashville has put together in front of Saros. I think they're in for a big year. If they can finish as a top 3 seed in that Central Division and Saros has a save percentage of .920 or higher, I could definitely see a scenario where he wins his first Vezina Trophy. And now finally finishing out the video with the last award, we have the Calder Trophy, which is awarded to the NHL's Rookie of the Year. I saved this for last because it's my favorite award race to follow all season every year. The Calder Trophy winner in 2024 was Connor Bedard, and my pick to win the award in 2025 is another player who was selected in the 2023 draft, Matvei Michkov of the Philadelphia Flyers. I try not to read too much into the preseason, but man was Matvei Michkov fantastic in the preseason for the Philadelphia Flyers. He is as dynamic as it gets. He's going to be playing top 6 minutes for Philadelphia. He's going to be featured on their top power play. When it comes to rookies, I like to keep my expectations in check because if your expectations are sky high, I feel like you're just setting yourself up for failure. But when it comes to Matvei Michkov, I think people have good reason to be excited about him, especially Flyers fans. I am pumped to watch him this season, and I think he's going to be the best rookie in the league this year. So he's my pick for the 2025 Calder Trophy. So that is going to wrap up today's video. Those are my NHL award predictions for 2025. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I always want to know what you guys are thinking, so be sure to let me know your predictions for all the major awards down below in the comments. If you made it all the way to the end of the video and you ended up enjoying yourself, please remember to leave a like. It's the best way to let me know that you enjoyed, and it does actually help out the videos a ton. And most importantly, if this was your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this all year round, hit that subscribe button, and I will talk to you all again soon.